I've made a lot of progress over the past couple weeks. I think I have the majority of my parts machined and the motion system's pretty much complete. So let me get you guys caught up to speed. Let's go. I bought this mechanical kit that came with all the components for the lifting table, and it looks pretty nice. It's got these 20mm ball screws, top and bottom mount plates that have bearings, the belt pulley, and this bracket here that'll attach to the bed support. I bought it going into it knowing that none of these features actually are going to line up with the 2020 extrusion I'm using. So I'm going to need to mill some new mounting holes in both of these parts. So actually we have what, 8 of these and 4 of these. So yeah, let me get those added so we can get this table installed. I set up an end stop and I'm only going to probe this first piece to get the origin position. Then the other ones I should be able to just drop them in. That came out just fine. Let me run the other 7 real quick. I've got all 8 of those modified, so let's do these 4 and we'll get this mounted. All 4 of these have been prepped, so I think everything is ready so we can get this assembled. It's going to drop in here. I need to put the belt on now before I forget. I was able to get all the ball screws installed. So I want the belt to go something like this with the motor mounted right here. The kit came with these 2 idler pulleys. I think I'm going to use the pulleys themselves, but I need to make my own mounting bracket for them that'll set them both on this rail. Here's what I came up with. It's wide enough to hold the 2 idler pulley brackets, but then I can screw it down to the 40/40 extrusion. I also came up with a mount for my Z-axis motor. Those came out pretty nice, so let me get them cleaned up and tapped. Let's attach these 2 idler pulley brackets. All right, my longer belt arrived, so let's go ahead and adjust the position of the servo. Now we just need to get these 2 8mm rods cut to length. I think I'm going to have to slide it in from here. Drop on my pulley. All right, let me tighten those down. I think the Y-axis motion's ready, except for adding the belt, which we can't really do till we get the X gantry on there. So cool. Let's get this mounting plate installed for the servo motor. I'm gonna just slide it back here as far as it'll go. Here's my 400 watt servo with a brake. Here's our pulley. Let's go ahead and get this on here. Okay, let's install this on the machine. All right, I've got some spacers, some M5 screws. What we need to do here is loop it through the belt. It's gonna go right there. The motor's installed, so I should be able to just slide this back and tighten it down to put tension on the belt. All right, let's try that. I've raised all these attachment points up to the top. Let me drop my frame on here, see how this fits. I didn't have any washers the right size that I needed, so I'm just gonna cut out these little plates, stacked as washers real quick. I have some 22 gauge steel in there. All right, those all turned out fine. I'm gonna use them to get my lifting table installed. I've got the lifting table loosely mounted on here. Let me show you what I've done. I got a great suggestion from one of my Patreon supporters, Mitch, who built a CO2 laser cutter in the past. And he mentioned that adding a function to do fine adjustments of the table leveling would be a great feature to have. So that's what I've done. I've got it all loosely mounted on here for now, and I will get that leveled up here when it's time. So thanks, Mitch. I've got this 600 by 1000 honeycomb table here. Basically, this was the first part I ordered, then I designed the machine around it. It should fit right on here. Here's a better look at the cutting table. Actually, it looks like it's still got like a protective coating on it here, so I'll have to pull those off. But yeah, looks good. I get a file set up to laser cut some tabs to secure the honeycomb table. And while I'm at it, I want to go ahead and cut out another piece we're going to need here in a little bit. I'm going to try cutting out these washers. I've got some 1.2 millimeter stainless steel in here, so let's give it a try. Those look nice. I cut them out with compressed air, and there's essentially no burr. Now I'm going to cut out these little tabs to align my bed to the frame to keep it square. Same material. Those turned out nice. The top row's the front and the bottom row's the bottom, and you can barely tell a difference. These are going to be to keep the honeycomb table aligned with this lifting table. That's one of the things I didn't like about my current machine, is that the honeycomb table is just floating up there and I can't rely on it to be a square reference when aligning material. So I'm going to put these on here, that way it'll always be square. I could even cut out some bigger ones that maybe have slots and can slide up and be like a hard stop for material. But we'll get to that later. For now, I'm just going to add these. Something like that. I have 6 more for the other sides. I want to start getting some belts installed, so I come up with a file here to mill out some belt clamps. These belt clamps look like they turned out nice. Let me get them cleaned up, and then these 2 small ones need in3 holes tapped. All the belt clamps are done. We have 4 of these thicker ones and 2 of these thinner ones. Let's just make sure they're gonna fit the belt. Should pop right on there. Oh yeah, perfect. Nice. I have 5 more parts I need to get machined out so we can assemble the X-axis gantry. I used PCB way to machine all my parts for my last couple projects, and I just feel like I've become a little bit lazy, so I'm making all my own parts this time. That should be all the parts we need for the X-axis. So let me get those cleaned up and tapped. All of our parts are prepared. I have this piece of 2020 extrusion that's going to be the gantry. So I need to get that cut to length, and I need to drill a few holes in each end. I'm going to install this and attach it via the blind hole method. So for the X-axis gantry, the side that's going to have the pulley tensioner, I need to weld these 3 together. And again, I've put little slots here for alignment. It's going to go something like that. This time I'm going to try to not weld into any of my tapped holes, so I don't have to clear those out. Before I install the X-axis beam, I think now's a good time to go ahead and try to get these aligned. I've 3D printed a tool here to align our 15mm guide rails. All right, let's see if we can install a plate on this side. This welded plate looked like it came out okay, so let's go ahead and install it on this side. Now to install this extrusion, I've got my laser cut piece here. I'm gonna drop in all my M5 screws. Slide it into the rail here. All right, I've already done the other side, so let's see if this lines up with the mounting plates. Feels like it's gonna slide. Let me make sure these are square and I'll snug them all down. I fiddled around with that for a few minutes and got everything square and it rides smooth. I ended up pushing it all the way to the back here and then aligning it off these back hard stops to get everything square. Yeah, it feels pretty good. Let's see if we can install this linear rail. All right, there we go. Let's get this belt tensioner assembled. Do something like this. I have the belt tensioning mechanism on here. You can see it goes right there and it can slide out to put tension on the belt. Though I realized I made a design error. It can't really go out any further or it's going to interfere with this extrusion. I was planning on having some nuts in here that I could adjust to pull that out for tension, but there's not even really room for that. So I think I'm just going to have these 4 screws be like alignment pins. I'm going to have to drill 4 new holes in this plate and tap them. That way I can put screws in to push it out to provide tension. So I think it'll still work just fine. I just need to make a little modification here. that was a pretty easy fix. Now I have some adjustment screws here where I can put tension on it. So let's start installing some belts. I got my first belt clamp here. We'll go ahead and attach it on one side. You see the belt's attached up under there. So that looks pretty good. Let's raise the tensioner up here and put a little tension on it. Do the other side. All right, I think that's going to work. Both the belts are installed for the Y-axis and they're coupled to the servo motor back there. So cool, let's work on the X-axis. For my X-axis motor, I've got some standoffs and some screws. Getting the pulley attached here. Okay, I think we can get this installed on the machine. That looks pretty good. So we're ready to install the belt. I just need to machine out this block that's going to attach to this that the belt's going to clamp to. So let me prepare that part and we'll put on the belt. All right, this part's ready and the belt clamps are ready. The last piece of the puzzle here is my laser head. This was intended to have the belt run in a horizontal fashion like this, but I'm gonna remove these because basically this is gonna attach right here and the belt's gonna run vertical right here. So I need to, rather than machining this plate from scratch, I'm just gonna remove all these components here and modify it. And basically the hole pattern is slightly too skinny, I believe, for my linear guide rail. So I'm gonna widen that up just a little bit. And then I'm gonna change these tapped holes. I'm gonna make them slightly bigger to be through holes to attach this to. All right, so let me disassemble this and modify it real quick, and then we can get this installed along with the belt. Got the holes drilled. Let's go ahead and get this plate attached here. All right, let's install it on the gantry. That was a difficult angle to show, but you can see there the belt's attached now. So let's put some tension on it. Gonna adjust these screws right here. The belt has tension now and it feels pretty good. You can see here where I've adjusted it right there. And yeah, I think this is gonna work. I think the motion system's all ready. Next time, let's work on the beam path. I have my 60 watt RF CO2 laser tube, beam expander, beam combiner for the red dot laser pointer, and some first and second mirrors. Like I said, next time I'm going to get the laser source installed and all the beam path, and probably we'll do some electronics also. Thanks again to Mitch for his input on this project, and also thank you to all my other Patreon supporters for making this possible. Thank you guys.